Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Board States Pod. I am your host, the ridiculous Reggie, joined as always by the jubilant Jazz. But today we have a special guest, the dexterous, the delightful, the dazzling Dwayne from BlackBoardGaming.
Yes.
What's up, folks?
What is up, Dwayne?
What is up? Yeah. We are here to talk about the best hobby in the world, board games, waiting to be played by you and yours.
Listen. He's a simple man. Don't want to complicate you.
Complicate you.
Oh, man. That's great. Yeah, thank you for being here. So what we're doing, as per usual, we've got a state of mind. And so this is the first time Jazz gets to do a game with someone else. It is a competition. And we've got the victory points of Coquito, which is a delicious eggnog-like Puerto Rican drink that usually is spiked with rum, that we will be having on the line as our victory points today. Our main topic is games we love to teach, and we had to pick Dwayne for this because he loves talking about teaching games. His wife's a teacher, Alicia. If you watch the BlackBoardGaming channel, you would know that. And so it just seemed like a perfect topic for that. And we're going to end, as we always do, with En La Mesa. We're going to do a relatively quick first impressions, and Dwayne even brought one as well. So he'll be talking about Faiyum. I will be talking about Come Sail Away, and Jazz will be chatting about Zenith.
Oh yeah, looking forward to this.
Yes, it's gonna be great.
Yes.
Anything you got to say, Jazz, here before we get into state of mind? Are we good?
Listen, I just think it's an honor to have Dwayne with us. Like, I've known Dwayne since the beginning of my content creation, and we've built such a great friendship. And watching him teach games, watching him have this amazing passion for how he teaches games, who better than to have on our first episode than like I said, the master maestro, this masterful teacher.
If you can see my eyes right now, I am so honored.
Yeah. It's and we go way back as a trio to the OFPG Voices days when we were all submitting content, being contributors on our family page jam. So it's just awesome. It's like the first time we've all been in a group chat together, like a Discord in, I don't know, a year at least. So it's awesome to see you guys. Okay, so we've got a fun game for you here. I hope you enjoy this. I should say I have to give credit where credit is due. This Game is Broken. Again, I stole this kind of idea from them. I think one of the Murphys did this one, but it's Wavelength, which is one of my favorite party games. Have either of you played Wavelength?
I have not, but I know what it is about.
Yeah, I haven't played it, but I know of it.
Okay, so that's great. Well, we'll teach you both and our dearest gentle listeners, the DGLs, as we like to call them. So how Wavelength usually works is there's this crazy apparatus that winds and conceals a target, and you are going to use this little, I don't even know, it's like a little dial, gosh, I can't even think what to call it. It's like a little sliver that you're going to try to get directly on point. You want to get it right, like a little arrow that goes right on the number that you want. And to one side of the dial is, for example, very smart, and on the other side would be pretty dumb. And so you, as the one player on your team, has to come up with a clue that will get them to get exactly on that wavelength, or exactly on that spectrum, and you're trying to be on the same wavelength, that spectrum, exactly where that number 4 is. That's the most points. But if you're close, you get 3 points and 2 points and all that. So how we're going to play it for the audio listeners and for you boys here is that I'm going to ask one of you, I'm going to give one of you a scale. We're going to do from 1 to 12. And then I'm going to randomly generate a number, and I'm going to give you a clue. And that clue is going to try to get you to get to that number. And so if I'm asking Jazz, he's going to say a number. He's going to guess 10. And then if he gets it dead on, he'll get 3 points. If he's close, I'll give him 2 points. And then I'll ask Dwayne, before we reveal it, does he think that the correct answer is higher or lower than Jazz's number here? So it's the best we can get to playing Wavelength in real life and audio with no visuals and everything. So I hope you'll get it. I have 2 questions for each of you, so you both get a turn to be the actual guesser. And I made 1 non-board game related question for you, specific to you both, and 1 board game related that I just think anybody could answer. So I hope you have a good time with this. So let's get started with Jazz. So we're going to go with, as we've mentioned many times in our themes episode and everything, behind Jazz, he's got the Mandalorian helmets, all the Star Wars stuff here. So what we're going to do is 1 being not iconic and 12 being iconic characters in Star Wars here. Okay, so that's the spectrum we're playing on here. I just got my number already. I really should just grab a D12. We'll edit this out after I do it. But I do have the number for the first one. So my clue for an iconic being a 12, a not iconic being a 1 Star Wars character, I'm going to go with my OG, the one and only Qui-Gon Jinn. Okay, Qui-Gon Jinn. And obviously talk out your thought process when you're thinking of this. Also known as Mr. Taken. He has a secret set of skills. Also known as Aslan, you know, the Narnian Jesus. All right, what are you thinking here?
Oh man, I see Qui-Gon. This, master teacher of young Anakin. He plays a huge
wow, I didn't even see that. He's a teacher. Yeah.
Yes, he plays a huge role in the tutelage of Anakin and his, connection with the Force.
Mm-hmm. In one movie, I
would say, because not many people, unless you're into Star Wars, would really know Qui-Gon Jinn. So I'm gonna say middle of the road 6. 6 is iconic.
Wow, he's right on the line. Okay, so he's saying he's like a little more on the iconic side, but still dead center. So Dwayne, you have to say, do you think? And I don't know how much you know. Do you know much Star Wars? I'm sure you do.
I love Star Wars, but I don't know everything.
Okay.
So
do you think his number is higher or lower than the correct answer? Or do you think the correct answer is higher or lower than 6?
I think it's lower than 6.
You think it's lower than 6? Okay.
So,
all right, this is exciting. I was thinking, I personally love Qui-Gon. Phantom Menace is like one of my favorite movies. But I was thinking he's just he's not on the iconic side. He's just under iconic. So the number I picked was 5. Or the number was 5, sorry.
Okay,
yeah, so
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah. You didn't get it dead on, but I'll give you 2 points because you're 1 off. And then Dwayne, you're going to get 1 point for correctly guessing that the correct answer was lower than his response here. So as of now, Dwayne has 1 coquito, 1 glass. Be careful, that's dangerous. There is a little liquor in there, and Jazz has 2. Okay. All right, we're going to go to the other non-gamer question, and this is more directed at Dwayne, who is, if you do not know, this guy is a chef. This guy knows how to cook. So I wanted to go with a scale of not spicy food. A not spicy food is a 1. The spiciest food in the world is a 12, okay? And so I'm going to go with the number, and I got the number here while we were sitting here talking. I'm going to go with a habanero pepper. Okay, a habanero pepper.
Oh.
1 being not spicy, 12 being spicy.
I'm going to give that one I want to give that one an 11.
An 11. Okay, wow, that's up there. Okay, so almost tough. So then, Jazz, you have to think, like, do you want to play the field and say you think the correct answer is lower, or do you want to say it probably is a 12?
I want to say the answer's lower. Like, I don't know. Like, I've tried some Thai food that's really spicy, and like my sister-in-law is Mexican, and she's tried some. These peppers. I'm like, I thought habaneros would have been like up there, but she's introduced us to some stuff that's ridiculously spicy. I'm gonna go. It's lower.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going lower. So Dwayne said an 11. The correct number that I got was a 10. Okay. So that's good. I was thinking an 11 would be like a ghost pepper and a 12 would be like a reaper or whatever, you know. So that's great. So actually, again, same thing. But now Dwayne will get 2 points. And Jazz will get 1 for getting the guess correct as well. So you guys are tied at 3.
Tie game.
Coquitos. It's maybe it's like a swig. Maybe we're just trying to fill up one glass. We can't give you a whole glass of this stuff here. Okay, now to the board game questions. And again, we always want you, dearest gentle listeners, to play along. So hopefully you can throw out your guess here. We'll give you some time and think about it. So for Jazz, this is gonna be tough. I went for 1 being an Ameritrash game. Okay. 12 being a Euro game, okay? On a scale of Ameritrash to Euro here. Okay, and this number, okay, so I'm gonna, this is actually pretty straightforward. I'm gonna go with Scythe.
Okay, I think Scythe lands more on the Euro-y, definitely on the Euro-y side. I'd say, for me, I'd really say Scythe is around like I want to say 9, but I want to say 8. I'm going to go 9.
You're going to go 9. Okay. So, Dwayne, do you think that his guess of 9 on the Euro side is higher, or do you think the answer is higher or lower for the actual side, what I got?
What if you agree?
Or you can also say, I think it's dead on. You agree with it. I think it's spot on.
I actually think it's spot on.
Okay, great. I maybe I haven't played enough Scythe because I was doing a 7 here. So I was like, you're right. I think it is on the Euro side. I didn't know how far in Euro, because you're still moving around hexes and stuff. You know, I was thinking maybe a 9 is like an Uwe, you know. I don't know. That's great. Okay, so I'll give you both a single point for that. So wow, this could decide it here. So you're both at 4 here. 4. I think this is Okay, the final one. I thought this was super funny category, so I'm excited to see what number we get here. The scale goes from 1 being not appropriate behavior at game night to 12 being appropriate behavior at game night.
I'm interested in this question.
So I'm gonna go. Oh man, I'm gonna go with eating nacho cheese Doritos. Eating nacho cheese Doritos at game night. 1 being not appropriate, 12 being appropriate.
Nacho cheese Doritos. I'm going with the 3.
Okay, Jazz, what do you think?
Dwayne is like spot on exactly where I was.
You can go for that. You can say, yeah.
But I feel like I have to shoot like for the win here, right?
Yeah, that's true. I was gonna say, if he's correct, and you go with it, he's gonna get 3 points, and you would get 1 point. So but you can go with your heart. It's up to you.
I'm gonna go slightly lower at like a 2. He's like 1 off.
No, I love it. I didn't know. I was like, you guys are good. I was like, we don't like messy foods. Gamers, man, that is one thing we really don't like. Dwayne, it was exactly a 3. Great job. So you did it. Yeah. Good job. So that's 3 points. He did it.
Awesome,
so Dwayne,
awesome.
So our first guess topples the reigning champion, the undisputed in all of State of Mind games.
Wow.
Jazz. So you got a whole 7 ounces of coquito, to drink responsibly, and Jazz, you only got 4 there, which Jazz has some on
Actually,
camera.
I've got 750 milliliters right here.
Oh, 750 milliliters. All right, well, there you go. That's Wavelength. I hope that inspires you guys to play it, because it's big group. The fun thing about it, if you ever get in a big group at a convention or something, it's a really good team game, because you're like trying to get your team to guess it, and the other team gets to pick if they think the guess that they got is higher or lower. So that's our State of Mind.
All right.
Not too bad.
Awesome.
And pretty fast. So I wanted that to be a little quick, though, too, because we each have brought 3 games for our main topic here. Again, talking about games we love to teach. And we're going to talk about those games, and we'll just each go through them, and we'll react a little bit, but also we'll just explain like what the game is generally and why we love to teach it. There could be many reasons, you know. Awesome. So I will let Jazz, but we'll go order of Jazz, Dwayne, Reggie here. So starting with your first game, Jazz, what's a game you like to teach?
Listen, the majority of games that I play are mostly with non-gamers. So I like to think of games that I can, obviously they have to teach quickly. They bring people together. For me, it's one that after I'm teaching a game, like I know the majority of people that I teach this game to is going to like first say, wow, I didn't think board games were like this. Where can I buy a copy of this at? And I want to play again. And for me, I think of like party games that really gravitate to this. And this may not be my favorite party game, but this is one that I think people talk about a lot. And it's a social deduction game. And this is Resistance Avalon specifically. I know many people who are not gamers, and they've probably played like Mafia. They've probably have been introduced to something like Werewolf, right? Ultimate Werewolf. Resistance Avalon kind of veils on that same vein where people are given hidden roles. You have one people that are being the I can't even remember what the bad guys and the good guys, right?
Yeah. In Avalon, it's like Arthurian, right? So you get like there's like roles from like Camelot and stuff, Merlin and stuff. I do love Avalon.
It is taken in that vein of King Arthur, the Knights of the Round Table, and it's where you are going out on pretty much, in essence, like a mission. You are on the good team or the bad team, the Arthurian team, or you're the what they call the minions of Mordred. I'm remembering. It's all coming to me, right?
Wow.
So the minions of Mordred, they're the bad guys. And, everybody goes to sleep. People, the bad people wake up. They get to identify who they are. And then they go to sleep. And then whoever's Merlin gets to wake up. And they get to see who the bad people are without the bad people knowing who Merlin is. And the game goes on where on your turn, you're going to pick a set number of people who are going to go on this quest. And you're just going to see, are those people going to want the quest to succeed and or fail? The good people want the quest to succeed. The bad people want the quest to fail, but they don't want to reveal themselves too soon because the first quest is maybe only 2 people, depending on the number of players. The next quest is maybe 3 or 4 people, and so you want to kind of, sometimes it's easier to sneak in a bad a negative vote and only needs 1 to fail within a larger group of people. But the whole game is played over the course of rounds, I think, depending on how many players. And if you have there's I think like a best of 5, for example. Once the third quest fails, it's automatic win for the bad guys, and that's the game. And you're pretty much trying to figure out who the bad people are, who the good people are. There's an opportunity for like the bad team to steal the win. Just a fun game. It's one of those games that after people are like, I didn't think this is what board games were. I've played social deduction type stuff. Let's play this again. People are asking me, where can I buy this game? So yeah, it's a great time. I haven't gotten this to the table in quite some time, but it's one that if I'm introducing people who are completely new to the hobby, sometimes it's their first time coming together, this is one that I will gladly pick off the shelf and play. And I always have a great time with it.
The Resistance, that's great. I prefer Avalon. I've got to play both of them. And again, I will say, like, social deduction is just not my thing. I've had some bad feelings with it of just like either outmaneuvering people by lying better or talking over people, and then that feels bad because you won by lying, and also vice versa, being deceived. But social deduction, I just want to give it a big praise on, and you might have mentioned something similar to this, is that it's kind of like, people know about Mafia, people know about Werewolf, like when I was in college, before I had really played many board games, we were playing Mafia, to kill time with some of my friends. So I kind of understood that because it's a social, what do you call that? Like a public domain game already. Correct. So that makes the teach easier too.
Okay, I haven't played that game yet, but I am interested. I do like some social deduction games, like Detective Club or something like that. But yeah, I would be interested in trying this game.
It's a fun one. I really think I enjoy it. Again, it's not, social deduction is not for everyone. It's not my first pick. I'm not always a big social deduction person myself, but this one seems to go over well every time I do teach it.
Okay. Well, I guess we go to my first choice, which is a game, probably one of my most played games of 2025. I've been enjoying teaching people this game. Is just a silly game, and that game is Hot Streak.
Woohoo!
Yes,
Reg is a big fan of this one.
I am.
I love teaching people Hot Streak. I love when I go to my board game Tuesday board game night, and I get there, and some of the people will ask me, "Did you bring Hot Streak with you or whatever?" Because we'll have some new people at the board game spot. So, and we will pull it off. And pretty much for those who don't know, Hot Streak is just we are gamblers who would just gamble on anything, and we're gambling on mascots who are racing. And pretty much you got Hurley, the hot dog. You got Gobbler, the bear. Dangler, the fish. And then you got Mum, who's the queen. And pretty much, you're going to get a hand of cards. We're going to reveal a number of cards depending on the number of players. And we're going to reveal those cards. And that's going to show you how the mascots are going to move on the track. Whether they're going to move forward 2 spaces, whether they're going to turn around, fall down, things like that. And then based on those cards, we're going to be placing bets to who do we think is going to win the race. Now, and then also there's a side bet. Like the side bet could be like, will Mum get disqualified, or will 2 people crawl to the finish line? And then every player is going to have 3 cards that they're keeping hidden from the other players. So once everybody has placed their bets, then we will take those cards that were revealed, and then every player would get a chance to place a card into that deck to hedge their bet. So you might think that with the revealed cards, it might look like Hurley's going to win because he got a lot of cards that's helping him move forward. But let's say Reggie decides I'm
rooting for Dangle every time. Exactly. So I threw that fall down in there.
Yeah, he threw that fall, or he threw that turn around. So where all that forward motion that Hurley was going to get, he's now moving in the other direction, And so
it's so great.
It is so hilarious. It lasts 3 rounds, and pretty much everybody has loved this game. It's easy to set up. All you got to do, pull the track out, get the characters out on the track, and that's it. And it's easy to put away, and it's just silly fun. And I love teaching this game to let people know, hey, this is what board games can be about,
Yeah. Oh, man. Hot Streak. So we did not share our list with each other, and I had a different one I was going to share first, but we have a true crossover. This is what I was going to talk about last, was Hot Streak. So I'm going to switch it to the front here. I mean, what can you say? What can you say about this game? I mean, the thing I wanted to mention about it is the only thing I was going to bring up, I had put in my notes here to just talk about Hot Streak, is that while I'm just pulling out the game, you pull out the board from the box, you're putting the mascots on there, you're putting some cards out, you're handing people paper money. Like, just as you begin to teach the game, people are getting excited, and every time you reveal a new rule about how you're going to get to put a card in and you get to bet on which mascot you like best, and that they're going to flip and they can fall down and they can fall beneath the track. And guess what? If the deck runs out, you flip the back of the board and the board might eat them. There's all these great things. And the reason I was saying this is I actually think it can be a little bit complicated of a teach. Or I should say it's very front-loaded of a teach. There's a lot of stuff going on at the beginning to get it going. Once the game gets going, it really goes fast. But what I love about it is just hearing people, every single time I have taught this game, people at the table are like, 1, this is amazing, or 2, I need to buy this, before even playing the game, which is why I love teaching it so much. Just the excitement of it when you're teaching it. And then the only other thing I want to say is it gets compared a ton to Magical Athlete. Also by the same publisher, CMYK, but this is a 30-year-old game. It's roll and move with wacky powers. And I was going to make a video at some point, but I'm probably never going to do it. So I'll just say it here on the Board States pod. For the dearest gentle listeners, I've played them both about a dozen times already this year. I've played them all. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, bringing it to game night, people always request it. So we pretty much have been playing it like every Thursday at my local game club. The thing about both of them is I do actually think they're very front-loaded. Like, there's so much time to draft all your betting tickets before you start racing in Hot Streak, and there's so much time drafting your characters before you start racing in Magical Athlete. Personally, and I know people have different opinions about that, but I just think Hot Streak has been more consistent. Every single time I play Hot Streak, it is just a blast. There can be some really wacky games of Magical Athlete, or really like fiddly games of Magic. They literally have a whole section of the rulebook for Magical Athlete called Fiddly Details. So I personally have just had more fun with Hot Streak, but I am always teaching newer gamers. Like Jazz said too, I'm a lot of the times I'm teaching new people, whereas like I truly think Magical Athlete is a party game for gamers. I think it's like a game for but I've also heard families play it, but that's just how I've experienced it. So Hot Streak was my first one too, so we had a crossover. I thought this one might be it. So I'll do my other one later. We'll go back to Jazz.
Listen, honestly, I think if I was able to get my hands on a copy of this and it wasn't accidentally sold at my local game store, but listen, someone has it and they're enjoying it, so that's all that matters. But it probably would have made my list as well, because I have played Magical Athlete. It, like I think Reggie said, it's one of those that it goes over well, but the fiddliness sometimes, I've had some mixed feelings with it, but mostly positive with everybody that's played it. But yeah, I haven't tried it yet with family, but I've played it all with gamers. So on to my second pick. Now, I know how much, Reg, you do love your flipping rights, rolling rights, things like that. So I do enjoy them as well. And I had to add one on here because this is probably one of my go-tos when it comes to teaching new gamers, but just teaching people in general who want something quick, want something, a great experience. People that have that familiarity, is that how you say it? With things like bingo, right?
Yeah. I know this.
I've taught this to coworkers who have loved it. Again, they're purchasing a copy. This is from Mr. Praise Be Phil Walker Harding, Super Mega Lucky Box, SMB baby. Now this is that, you know, flip and right type game where there's a deck of cards, numbers 1 through 9, 2 of each numbers in the deck. You're going to shuffle that deck, set it in the center of the table, and bingo-esque, you're going to be flipping over a card, whatever that number is. Players are going to be in the beginning of the game drafting out. They're going to get a set of I believe it's 4 cards at the very beginning. They could choose 3 to keep, and they're going to have like a 3x3 grid of numbers on there. And when that card is flipped over, you look at your 3 cards and you cross that number off on one of your cards. And as you're filling up your cards, if you fill up a row, fill up a column, sometimes there's an additional bonus at the end of that column, which might be another number. And that allows you to cross off another number somewhere else. It could be a question mark, which lets you cross off any other number.
Combo.
Yeah, comboing, right? It's a combo-tastic one. But you have the stars, the moons. The moons allow you to, you can spend the moons on a subsequent turns to, plus or minus the number that you're doing, which I love the fact that you can wrap around. So you can make a 9 a 1, you can make a 1 a 9. But yeah, this is played over 4 rounds. The earlier, I like the fact that the earlier you get cards done, the more points they are. And it's very hard to get cards done so early, but it's such a great game. The stars you cross off, the more your stars you cross off, the more points you get. A fun game. People who love bingo, this is one of those, like, you kind of teach it as you go, and then you're ready to set up for the next round. But people who have never played board games, they're just like almost like they played Sudoku, they've played bingo, all of that stuff. Everybody's played bingo. They love this game. This has not gone over bad with anyone that I've taught this to. SMB, Super Mega Lucky Box.
Oh, that's a great one, man. Yeah, I am a big Phil Walker Harding fan. I got this game used from Facebook Marketplace in the last, year and a half or so. And honestly, it's been great because it's relatively hard to find. You can't, and nowadays, it's an older game at this point. And I do think, truthfully, this might be my favorite flip and right to teach. So I agree, because like I love Welcome To and I love Next Station London, but every time I've taught both of those, it just there's so many rules, and God forbid we talk about Hadrian's Wall or Tend, which people have been playing but I think it's great. I think that bingo thing, I think another thing about teaching games is, some sort of familiarity. Just like I was saying with Resistance, people have played Mafia before, people have played Werewolf, so it's like people have played bingo. You're like, okay, have you played bingo before? Okay, you have a decent gist. And I'll just say one thing that I think us veteran, dedicated gamers, us sweats, as they say, us board game geeks, is that you have so much information downloaded from all the games you play. So it's like, as soon as you say flipping right, I already know so much about the game, you know. As soon as you say trick taking, I know like 80% of the rules, you know. And so new gamers come in and you start using all this jargon, and you're kind of alienating them because that's why it's so, they're glazing over, because you're not even explaining what worker placement is. Like, you could say worker placement and we got the gist. So correct. I think it's trying to find touch points to stuff that the general audiences would know is a good way to teach.
Yeah, that's one thing that I always think about, making sure that people have some kind of familiarity, where it's about the theme or the mechanics or something like that will introduce them to this game. So my next choice is a game. It's pretty much Gamers Go Fish. And that game is Trio.
Also known as?
Nah. And so I first got a hold of Trio, and then of course when I saw how Nana looked, I actually spent the little extra cash to get Nana sent to me. But I love teaching Trio and some other games of this ilk, because the fact that you cannot rearrange your hand. I love being able to teach people how to play the game, but then tell them you cannot rearrange your hand. And sometimes their eyes go wide open, like, I can't rearrange my hand. Like, no, you cannot rearrange your hand. And so Trio, pretty much what you're trying to do is to get 3 sets of 3 different numbers. And the numbers are 1 through 12. So they're 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, all the way up to 12. And when you get dealt your hand, you have to arrange your hand from lowest to highest, you know. And then what you're trying to do, like I said, you're trying to collect 3 sets of 3 numbers. And how you do that is you ask the other people or the table, what is your lowest or your highest card? And once they reveal their lowest card, let's say it's a 1. And let's say you have a 1 in your hand. You decide, I'm going to reveal my lowest card. So now you got 2 1s. So let's say I go to Jazz. Jazz, what's your lowest card? And Jazz reveals a 2. And so, of course, you're trying to get all 3. You failed at that. So now everybody takes those cards and puts it back in their hand. But now there's information at the table. And everybody has to remember who had the 1, who has the 2. There are also cards in the middle of the table that you're going to flip over. And so if you fail at getting all 3 numbers, you're going to flip those cards on the table back over, face down. And now people have to remember, where was that 2 at? You know, where was that card?
You can never remember.
And it is just so much fun. And it's just like seeing people's faces when they're looking at everybody like, I'm trying to remember who had that 12, you know. And like I said, also, Nana was the original copy, which means 7. So the reason they called it Nana, because there are 2 other ways to win. If you, let's say you get all 3 3s and 3 4s, 3 plus 4 equals 7. And so if you gain that, then you don't need all 3 sets. You just need those 2 sets. Also, if you find all 3 7s, you automatically win. But the thing is, 7s are in the middle of your hand. So you might have all 3 7s in your hand, but you can't pull them because you still got lower cards and higher cards. So you have to open up the way in order to play those 7s. So, I mean, I love teaching Trio. I love, like I said, it's just Gamers Go Fish, testing people's memory. You know, I've really got to test mine because I'm getting up there in years, but I love teaching Trio. And like I said, there's other games like this, like Scout. There's Wind the Film, which is probably my favorite card game, where you cannot rearrange your hand.
Great pick. I thought of adding this one as well because this has gone over very well with everyone that I've taught it to. even younger kids, like my daughter understands this game. I think she's really trying to gravitate to this one. She has the basic concept, but I think the strategic element is still something that she's grasping. But the more games that I introduce her to, she's picking it up. So you reminded me, this is one I've got to get back to the table, specifically with her, just to kind of get those those neurons
activated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, Nana's so great. I mean, if you go back and watch my game night picks appearance, I did a budget beginner collection on the game night picks recently, and I really had a great time with that. And I have what I call the holy trinity of small box card games, and that is Nana or Trio, Scout, and Sea Salt and Paper. I think those three are the holy trinity of small box card games. I have Nana. I also splurged. I got a shout out to Tanuki Games in Austin, Texas. They bring in a lot of great imports. So if you hear about an imported game, all those games that Dwayne talked about are all Japanese games. I think he has a little bit of a lure towards those. But I've also bought Trio for multiple people. I actually think the Trio art is very beautiful, and it's very I mean, it's like $7.99. It's Dia de los Muertos, like pinata type beautiful art. Yeah. But the thing I wanted to say is just to piggyback with Jazz on the youth thing. I just played this a few days ago. Right before dinner with my in-laws, who are like grandparents to my niece, who is 9 years old, and my wife and my sister-in-law. So it's like three, parent-aged adults, couple grandparent-aged adults, and a 9-year-old, and we have so much fun. Like, it's just such a good game for like cross-generational, because it is adult goldfish. And the crazy thing is, my 9-year-old niece will win like fair and square, because adults get distracted, adults don't pay attention. Our memories are going, even me. I mean, I know you're saying you're getting old over there, Dwayne, but I mean, I can't remember the very last turn that someone took. I don't remember where the 12 is. So it's so fun. So I love Nana. I think the art is incredible. And I've even sleeved this. We spilled some wine on it the other night, and I was so grateful for the sleeve. So I have my Nana copy. It's right behind my head in all my YouTube videos. So check that out. Okay. My next one here, I'm going to go for the one I was going to say first here. And this is another smaller box game. I have the travel edition of, I looked it up here, the 1997, I can't believe it, For Sale here, okay? This is Stefan Dora, auction bidding. As you all know, auction bidding is just one of my favorite mechanisms. And this ended up being my most played game of 2025 at the table. Obviously, I played Captain Flip like 80 times on Board Game Arena. Let's not talk about that. But For Sale I got introduced to it in early January. I just had to go look this up today by my buddy Colin. Shout out to Co Warner. He showed it to me and Alba, and we played this. And like, oh my gosh, like it's so easy to teach. And I think the thing about it is that it's got a couple touch points, like we were talking about. Number one, the theme is we are buying properties and then we're going to flip those properties. That's great. Also, the numbers of properties go from 1 to 30. The 1 is a cardboard box. The 30 is a space station. The 29 is like a skyscraper. That makes sense. The buildings are better if they have higher numbers. And the best part about it is that it is in 2 phases. So in phase 1, we're just going to be bidding around the table to try to buy these properties. We all start with the same amount of money. In phase 2, we'll have all the properties that we purchased in round 1, and we're gonna all simultaneously choose one to sell at the market. So that's the flipping part of it. What I love about that rules is the 2-phase game allows me to teach just phase 1 and say, I'll talk about phase 2 when we get there. Like, so I can teach the game in like 2 minutes, give people the gist, and we get started. And then when it comes to phase 2, I'll be like, okay, so here's what's going to happen in phase 2. I don't even really need to explain how the money works, how many money cards there are until we get there. And so my honorable mention here, I'm cheating a little bit, but my honorable mention is Blue Lagoon. And that is a Reiner Knizia tile laying game that has the exact same, very similar in that it is 2 phases. And so I will teach phase 1 and then I will teach phase 2 when we get there. And I love being able to do that, again, especially with new gamers, because us three here, and probably you listening to the podcast right now, you are used to learning rules. You're excited. You're paying attention. You're asking questions. Most people I teach board games to start glazing over right at about 45 seconds, right at about 90 seconds. So I'm trying to get the pertinent information out. Let's get playing, and then I'll update you on what you need to know when we get there. Whereas again, like my gamer friends, they want to know every single rule before we start, because if there's something that comes up later that they weren't told, and they could have totally played the game differently, they're going to be upset. But non-gamers, that's not how it works. So For Sale's just been great. It's my go-to gateway game. Played it so much last year. Yeah, that's my choice for second favorite game I love to teach.
Yeah, this is a great pick. I think I played it for the first time in 2025, maybe twice. This is one of my buddy's favorite, auction bidding style games. So yeah, I think it's a solid choice. So we're on to my last one, and I had to put a heavier game on here. I considered something like a game that I don't consider myself that good at teaching games. That's just me. I wanted to originally put Endeavor Deep Sea on here because I know it's a heavier game, but I just enjoy teaching it. I enjoy, the having people, drafting which character they're going to add to their team, a specialist they're going to add to their team, and how that specialist can be flipped over, all of that stuff. But again, I don't consider myself good at teaching that game. So I had to go with a game that I think is, again, it's probably one of the quintessential gateway games to getting people into this hobby. This is the game that got me into this hobby. It got me falling in love with what board games potentially could be. It had me Googling, more board games, Board Game Geek, going down the rabbit hole. And it's a cooperative game. I think we all know this, 2008. It is definitely Pandemic from Matt
Awesome.
Leacock. I think, kind of Reggie, what you were kind of alluding to when you were describing, For Sale, how the numbers go from 1 to 30, the cardboard box or the space station, how you don't that's a pasted on theme, right? You can make it whatever it is. I know they have the new, the For Sale with the cars, the
Autorama,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Autorama, you can kind of make it. But this one, again, we were talking about it, last episode with, episode 8 with our theme, right? And when it comes to themes, how the theme and the mechanics work hand in hand. But in Pandemic, pretty much you are taking on the role of various different types of specialists. Everybody has a different type of occupation, and you and your team collectively are pretty much trying to rid the world of these, virulent diseases, right? There's a bunch of diseases that are populating the planet, the entire planet of Earth, and you're trying to go around and you are trying to cure the cities throughout the world. And you can fly to these cities. You can move from city to city. You can fly across the board. You want to get to some of the same cities that your teammates are in, because you have to trade information, and you're trying to cure these diseases. And if you can start curing them off the board, if you get all those cubes of the red disease off the board and you've cured it, now you've eradicated that disease. Anytime you draw a card, it doesn't, it's not going to come back out. But all in all, for those that don't know, you take on the role of an occupation. You start in the CDC, the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, Georgia, and you are moving throughout the world. That there's, think of the recent, pandemic that we just had, right? This is exactly what it is.
What? Pandemic?
This is exactly what it is, right?
Yeah.
And this virus is spreading throughout the world, and you have to make your way traveling throughout the world to cure this disease and find the disease. How do you do it? First of all, you have to build research stations, and you have to be able to gather cards. And if you can gather, it's 4 cards of the same type the same color, and you get to a research station, you discard those 4 cards, you've cured that disease. But it's not as easy as it seems, because at the end of your turn, the board in essence is going to take their turn. So you guys are playing, for those that don't know cooperative games, it's you and the other 2 to 3 players with you at the table. You're playing against that game board, and that board is going to take its turn, and it's going to populate with, at the beginning of the game, just 3 additional cities are going to start getting cubes. But then if you draw that epidemic card, guess what? All those cities that you've already drawn, they're going to get shuffled back and placed on top of that draw deck, because they're going to come out again. So the diseases are going to start spreading even more in cities that are already diseased. And what happens is there's an outbreak that happens. If there's more than 3 cubes in a city, when another cube is added, it spreads to every city that's connected to it. Every time I've taught this game, I've seen people who have never played board games that were just mesmerized with everything that just blown, and they're like, at the end of the game, you can feel the intensity. For me, it was like feeling the intensity of that final card draw, when you know you have just one more turn to cure that final disease to win the game, and it all is determined on what that final card draw is. And I think this is what has made me love board games so much, is the people at the table, they get together, they're connected, they're in on every turn, and things like this with that. In cooperative games, was that final card draw, and you're all looking there, and it's like, we did it. We accomplished this task. I remember the first time, I think I said this every time I've talked about this game, I remember being at my wife's house. This is when we were dating, to like 2:00 in the morning. Her father comes down the steps, and he's like, "What are you still doing here?" I'm like, oh, we were just finishing this game. We got really connected. I lost track of time.
We're just destroying diseases. I promise we're eradicating diseases. That's all. Not giving any diseases out. We're eradicating diseases. I promise.
But I think this is my wife's favorite game of all time that we've played since it's been the hobby, and this is one that she will just go back to all the time. But what's so awesome is, like, this game scales, right? You can play it at the beginner level, but you can play it at that like epic level. I think it's what it's called, where you just add more epidemic cards into the deck, which makes it impossible to beat. I've never beat it at the epidemic, but it's such a fun game. I love it. Again, the only issue with cooperative games is that quarterbacking method, where you have someone who's played the game and they're telling other people what to do. I've learned how to not do that, where it's pretty much, hey, I'm going to facilitate you what you do. If you're going to ask me what would be the best bet, I'm going to say you can do this or this. This is probably the most ideal turn, but listen, choose what you want to do, and the game's going to kind of develop, and we'll just work with what happens as it goes, which is how I like to play cooperative games.
I gotta say, I'm really happy you mentioned a cooperative game. I couldn't think of one that I really wanted to talk about for this list, but the thing about cooperative games that is great for teaching specifically is you're not worried about showing somebody your hand, because it's like, we're working together. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I'll show you how to do this. My personal favorite cooperative game outside of Marvel Champions is Daybreak, my favorite Matt Leacock, I should say. So I think that one's a good example of a similar thing, where it's like, it's got a lot going on, and we can just be like, I can show you what the cards do and what's going to happen on the middle of the board. Like, instead of disease, it's like the CO2, the pollution's coming out, and I can show that type of stuff. So yeah, co-ops are a really good fit for this list.
Yeah, my wife, Pandemic was one of the games that brought her in. And this system has worked so great as he releases different iterations. Like recently, I've been playing Fate of the Fellowship, and it is
great game.
A great game. The Pandemic system just really shines there, and it's so thematic, And I just taught this at a board game meetup at one of my board game stores, and they were really involved. And sometimes I struggle to, like, since I was the teacher, I wanted to make sure, like, I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I'm trying not to quarterback, which I know can be an issue. But there are some games like Daybreak where quarterbacking is not an issue. But I
agree.
I did think of another cooperative game that I love to teach. And this involves cooperative poker. And this is The Gang.
The Gang. Nice.
Fun one.
And I have been having so much fun teaching people how to play this game. Like, I tell them it's Texas Hold'em poker. I like poker, but I never like really played it because I don't like to lose money. Most of the people that play it play for money. I need my money to buy board games. So anyway,
I can't be wasting that money off the poker table. I got deluxe components to buy.
Exactly. So I've been teaching people the gang and telling them like, here's a little player aid that shows you how the different hands work. And pretty much what we're trying to do is rank our poker hands from lowest to highest. And we're going to do it like 4 times. There's 4 different chips. And we're going to, everybody's going to get dealt 2 cards. And then based on those 2 cards, you're going to grab a 1 chip, being, let's say it's a 4-player game. And the chip's going to be numbered 1 through 4. If you think you have the worst hand, you grab the 1 chip. If you think you had the best hand, you grab the 4 chip. Now, the thing is, you cannot really communicate. You can't verbally communicate. So if somebody grabs the 1, you think you got the worst hand, you could take that 1 chip from them. But once we figure out where those chips are going to stay, then we're going to reveal the river, the 3 cards. And then based on that, how is your hand fare? And everybody starts grabbing chips, and then it goes all the way up to the 4th round. And it's going to be 7 cards, 5 on the table, the 2 in your hand. And if you think you got the best hand, you're going to go for that 4 chip. And somebody might take it from you. And then once everybody is comfortable where they're at, then whoever has the 1 chip is going to reveal their hand. And then whoever has the 2 reveals their hand. If their hand is higher, we continue to go. And if any of the hands are not ranked correctly, we set off an alarm. And there are 3 alarms on the table, 3 vaults. We win if we are able to rank our hands correctly and open up all 3 vaults, hence the name The Gang. Or we lose if we don't rank our hands correctly and we set off 3 alarms. And I've had so much fun teaching people this game. I have a friend who plays poker all the time. And so I was teaching him the game, and he actually had a pair, and he just couldn't figure out. He thought he had the worst hand. I was like, no, you got to read the table. You got to look at the table, see where chips are going. You might have the best hand right now, And so once we played a few rounds, he started getting it, and he enjoyed it, and that's all I ask. I've been trying to get him to introduce him to games for a while, and I finally got him to play the gang, and he really, really loved it. This is a game that really goes over, and you cannot really quarterback in this cooperative game. You just nonverbal communication, trying to rank your hands of poker, rank them in the right order.
Solid pick.
Yeah, I love that. I gotta play the gang, man. I didn't even know about the taking a chip from another person if you feel like and I was gonna say this when I was teaching you guys Wavelength today in our state of mind earlier, rewind people, is that I learned from Ito, which I got Ito for Christmas, if listeners would know, and I learned I'm really bad at quantifying those types of things. So I it's not something I'm good at. I enjoy it, but man, I feel like the gang would be so fun. I gotta play this game. I gotta get that to the table. So, all right, well, I went with a little bit of a bigger one also here. I wanted to get a little bit, I was like, what is a heavier game that I really enjoy teaching and why? And so for Hot Streak, like I said, it's mostly because when you're teaching it, I like the reactions of people when they're playing it. For Sale, I love being able to teach a part of the game and then get to save some of the teach for when it comes out, But for this one, I like this one because I can legitimately show an example turn and we don't have to reset the whole board. And that is Libertalia Winds of Galecrest. Okay, this is a 2022 remake or what do you call it? I forget. Why can I forget?
Re-implementation.
Re-implementation. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Geez Louise, we can't say familiarity. I mean, geez, our words we're all off today. But re-implementation of Libertalia. It is for 1 to 6 players, about a 2.1 weight, 45 to 60 minutes. And it's Paolo Mori, by the way, who I think he does a really good job of streamlined rule sets. I've been really learning this more with like Captain Flip, Toy Battle, all of his like Blitzkrieg and all those. But how this game works is we are sky pirates now, anthropomorphic animals. You know, the hater's gonna hate is what I'm gonna say about that. And yeah, man, actually, oh yeah, we're talking to Mr. Everdell. We're talking to Mr. Everdell himself.
Everdell was on my short list.
Yeah, it's a great, yeah. So these pirates, though, you know, it's really a game where I forget what they did. They went up to 40 characters now, so it's 40 cards in the reprint. They're numbered 1 to 40. One player shuffles the deck and draws 6 random or 7 random cards, whatever it is, and everybody else goes through their deck, which should be in order, and picks those exact same cards. So everybody starts the game with the exact same hand of 6 or 7 characters, whatever it is. And so what I love about that is I can just say, all right, everybody just pick a card. Like literally when I teach this game, I say, everybody pick a card, put it face down, because that's actually what we're gonna do in the gameplay. And then I will rank them in the right order, and I'll go through like what would happen if these are the cards that came out. And that is a great way to teach it. And again, also then I could just go through every card that's in our hand. I'm like, here's how we're gonna start the game. These are the cards in all of our hands. So it's not like you're hiding any information because we all have that. Part of the game is knowing, you know, I'm going to play, you know, I play the number 4 this time, which has a specific special ability or abilities, and other people played, like 5 other people played their 15s. Everybody knows I played my 4 and they still have their 4 in their hand. And so that's kind of all the thought process of the game, is trying to double think people. And how that works is you're going to resolve some ties, you're going to look at reputation for that type of stuff, and you're going to collect loot tokens in reverse order. So the highest number that gets played that round is going to get first choice at the loot, and the loot has like abilities or set collection for more money, and you're just trying to get the most loot, which is gold. It has like apparently a really great solo mode. I have not tried that out, but I usually am playing this at 5 or 6 players, and it's just so awesome to have a game that's, you know, a little bit more medium weight with a bunch of people at the table, and I can teach it really quickly by actually just demonstrating a turn. And I do have to shout out Stonemeyer Games YouTube channel. He does do for almost all of his games, he says, how do I teach this game? Like he does a video, not on the rules, not how to play, but a video on how to teach the game. And I think he said something about that, and I had learned that, and it really goes so fast to teach this game. So Libertalia Winds of Galecrest is our last pick for that. Any thoughts on that game? Have you guys played it, either of you?
It's been a while since I played it, but yes.
Yeah, it's been a while for me. I actually have the original. I have both the original and the new one.
Nice. I wanted to say, before we go to our quick first impressions, really fast, like rapid fire, my top tips for teaching. And I think Dwayne probably has some really great teaching tips too, Jazz. I'm sure you do as well. Even though you said you're not a great teacher, both Dwayne and I's wives are teachers. So like my wife is always giving me hard critiques on my teaching ability, because I love to go right into it. I'm like, it's a worker placement game. So what I've learned from my awesome like educator wife, who has a master's degree in education, is the biggest thing is telling the goal first. I think I always forget to do that. And when I started like focusing on that, it really helped my teach. I'm like, the goal of this game is to get the most victory points. You get victory points by this, or the goal of this game is to be the last one alive. You know, just saying that really helps. And how do you get to that objective? If you start explaining it that way, is a really good one. I think the for sale example, I just like to say, like, explaining things as they come up, or like right before something comes up, you can save a tip. You can save a rule until like it's just about to happen, especially stuff that's like, it's not on the board right now, it won't be revealed until, you know, phase 5 or whatever. There's no need to teach that right now. You know, don't overwhelm people with more information if you can teach them later. And also, if you have another person at the table with you, I love having a pointer, like someone who's like, this is what he's talking about, you know, someone who's played the game before, like pointing at things on the board or whatever, especially those heavier games. So those are my 3 like biggest tips, is like, is start with what the objective is, save some things that can be saved, and like really have things being pointed out, especially if you have, you know, other people at the table, and make sure you're the only one talking when those people are doing that. Anything to add for those tips?
No, I think those are perfect tips. That was the first thing I thought about when you said, like, let them know what are you trying to do, you know, and how do you win the game, you know, and let them know what exactly the theme of this game is. And like I said, no, definitely make sure you know the rules. Yeah, you want to make sure you know how to play the game, because you don't want to miss any rules, you know, make any mistakes as you're teaching the game.
Yeah.
Also, like I said, there are some things you can tell people up front, but then once the game gets started, you can start pointing out these things also. You know, and I like when I'm teaching a game, I also try to, you know, that's the time when I'm, like if I'm teaching my wife, I let her know, hey, you could do this or you could do this. I'm just bringing it to your attention. These are your options right now, you know.
Yeah.
So, and also try to
Some people don't love that. Some people don't love that, but it is good. I like to be like, hey, you could do this, this, or this. And they're like, shut up, I'm trying to think about it, you know. But I totally get it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I think you guys hit it spot on. I think understanding, you know, what the ultimate goal is and how you can achieve that goal, like what things you can do to acquire these points or, you know, these various objectives that get you to the goal. I think that's important. I think for me, what makes it very hard when it comes to teaching, like I said, teaching gamers, right? I don't think I have as much of a difficulty there because they're invested. They know they're going to sit. They know that teach might take 10, 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously, if depending on if we're playing like Sweet Lands, it's like a 30, 45 minute teach, right? But when it comes down to like people who are just new to the hobby, picking a game that has realistic expectations for the group that you are going to be teaching, right? You're not going to sit there and teach them a 15-minute game knowing that the people are very, you know, they want to be in their phones, and that's just obviously as gamers, that's something that kind of like gets, it's like kind of gives us the ticks, right? Is understanding who your target audience is going to be at that table and understanding, okay, we're going to play these games. And if they're ready to take that next step, then you take that next step. But also understanding there's some people who are just naturally, you know, whether it's super competitive, so they want to know what's the most ideal turn and what's this. So, you know, sometimes it doesn't go over well having a game, you know, like you guys were mentioning, where saving certain rules because that specific person, and understanding that specific person doesn't want you to save those rules. They already kind of in their head want everything up front, but trying to figure out how do you kind of like, what's the word? You know, appease everybody at the table, right? Because some people just want to get right into the game, and some people, they just want to get to how are they going to obliterate everybody at the table. Sometimes understanding that certain people shouldn't be at the table with other people, right? You find the right games to fit for the group. So I think that's a big thing, is finding the right game for the group that you're sitting down with. That's another, would be my suggestion.
Love it. And you, while we were talking, you made me think of one other thing that I said out loud recently. Is I'm trying really hard again, this is kind of going back to the non-gamers, but I'm really trying hard not to say it's so simple or it's so straightforward. You got to manage your expectations. Like, it makes people feel dumb when you say it's super simple, it's super straightforward, and then you start explaining it and they're like, I don't understand. So that's like been my really big goal of the last few months. But okay, that's our main topic. That was so fun. Thank you for joining us with that, Jazz, and or Dwayne joining Jazz and I. But we've got one more piece here, one more segment. En la Mesa. And what we do here is we like to give a first impression, something that has hit our table recently. And I'm just going to let Dwayne take it away. Go for your game.
Oh, boy. Okay. So the game that has hit my table recently is a game that I got turned on to this game by the brothers Murph, Nick, and Mike. And it's a Friedman Freeze game.
Shout out.
Called Faiyum or Faiyum. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And this is a game that's set in Egypt, and we take on the role of city planners who are trying to clear the swamplands of gators, turn it into farmland, and also build settlements and cities and bridges and roads and stuff like that. And what, you know, I just played this solo, and I'm definitely planning on playing this at my next Friday night board game group. And pretty much the interesting part of this game is the card market. It's resembles. It's said to resemble Power Grid's card market, where you buying cards on your turn. You're either playing cards and doing that action, or you're buying cards from the card market. There are 8 cards on the board. 4 of them are going to be available to you. And they're going to be arranged from a lower to higher value. And so when you buy a card from that market, then you draw another card and it's going to be put into that row based on its numerical value. So it doesn't like slide the rest of the cards down. It might end up going all the way to the left side, and they're making that card immediately available. The cool thing about it is when you go do administration, like administration, you would gain 3 coins minus the number of cards in your hand. So if you have a full hand of cards, you end up getting no money. And then you have the option of revealing 2 meeples from the board and getting $1 each for those meeples. But then as you're playing cards, you're going to discard those cards in your discard pile face up. You get to take back the top 3 cards. You cannot look through your discard pile and pick which cards. You have to take back the top 3 cards, and then any other cards that you want, you have to pay money for them. So if you want the 6 cards, then you're going to have to pay an extra $3 in order to get those cards back into your hand. And that is the one thing that's really, really interesting about this game that I'm loving. Also, when you build settlements and roads, that becomes, it's not your road or your settlement. It belongs to everybody. So people can play a card that might add a meeple to a settlement that you just built in order to gain certain goods. There's grapes, there's stone, and there's wheat. And then, like I said, also you're trying to get rid of those alligators, which I think is just a really nice touch, in order, because the gators don't really mean nothing, but it's just the fact that it's swampland. They put gators on the board. I mean, I am really loving this game so far.
As the nature nerd, I have to say, there's crocodiles in Africa. It's Nile crocodiles. Alligators are American. Gonna say crocodiles. See in a while. Wow, that is awesome. I've also seen this from the Brothers Murph, so shout out to them. Friedman Friesa, man, he's so obsessed with the letter F. He found out that there's an oasis-like basin in Egypt that starts with an F, and he's like, I'm going to make a whole game around it, because that's the only thing he does. This game, I feel like, went under the radar because it was a 2020 release, which, kind of like that COVID era. The thing that's interesting to me is, like, if you look at this board, honestly, it looks like it came out in, like, 2008 or something, and there's all these wooden pieces, and it just seems so endearing. I don't know what it is about this game, but I'm really interested in it, and I think Jazz might be too, because it's city building, economic, and farming. If you remember our favorite themes episode very recently, I think that fits this thing. So yeah, I'm putting this on my want to play list right now while you're talking, and I'll let Jazz talk. 1 second, sorry, Jazz. We've been forgetting to do this. Dwayne, would you give it a grandma, gateway plus, or gamer rating in terms of complexity here for your first impression? What would you say?
I would probably put it in between gamer plus and gamer plus and
or gateway plus.
Gateway plus and gamer plus. Yeah.
It'd be right up in there. Like a little more than Gateway Plus, but not like crazy gamer. Right. Okay, so Gateway Plus. That makes sense. Cool.
Yeah, I'm really loving it.
Yeah, this one, you got me intrigued. Like I pulled it up on BGA. I'm looking at the board, and like the card market and the board in and of itself, it just gives me like Concordia vibes a little bit. I know you were talking about the market in Power Grid, which I haven't played Power Grid, but I have played Concordia. So it just gives me those vibes. Yeah, this is, you're right, Reg. Just kind of up my alley. I had no knowledge of this game until today. So I'm going to be looking into this one a little bit more, seeing if I know anybody local that's got a copy of this for me to check out, because, this is something that looks like it's right up my alley. But onto my game, Zenith. Zenith is 2025 release. It is a 2 or 4 player game. Best played at 2. This is from Playpunk Games. Designers Gregory Gard and Matthew Rossell. This one is a game that I had the opportunity of checking out a demo of, almost a full playthrough, 2 PAX Unplugs ago. So PAX Unplug in 2024, and we did it as a 2v2 game, which after I played, I said, oh, this is pretty cool, but I didn't feel like immersed as I do when I play this game 2-player. This game is meant to be played 2-player. This game, for those that don't know, there's a bunch of different cards in the game. You have 3 different races: the humans, the robots, the Animods, I think it's called. But pretty much you are running this civilization. Civilization runs off of a thing called Zenithium that you see it on BGA. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to influence these planets. And there's a planet board, and there are, I think it's 5 planets that are going to be centered in the center of the board. And you're going to be playing this tug of war with these planets. And you're trying to play cards out to influence those planets towards your side of the board, while your opponent is trying to pull those planets to their side of the board. And as you pull planets to your side of the board, once you can get them to fall off of the board onto your side of the table, you acquire that planet or the influence to that planet. And ultimately, to win the game, there's 3 different ways. You can have an absolute victory, a diplomatic victory. Reggie knows all about that, and the popular victory. So with the absolute victory is if you can gain 3 influence discs off the board onto your side of the same planet, you win. The democratic victory is if you can get any 4 discs. 4 discs of different planets onto your side, or any 5 influence discs to your side, you automatically win the game. But what I really like, I love games that have tech trees, right? So this one has a technology board as well on the side where, again, I think I've mentioned before, I love multi-use cards, and that's how this game is. This game, you're going to get dealt a hand of cards. You can mulligan these cards out at the beginning of the game. I always recommend trying to get cards that are of lower value into your hands first. And that way you know you can play some things out, because you're going to start the game with credits, you're going to use those credits to actually play your cards. And the other currency of the game is something called Zenithium. Now, we'll talk about that shortly.
Zenithium.
So as you play your cards, you can play your card to the planet board, right in front of you. You match the color of the card to the planet that you want to play, so the red card to the red planet, and pay the cost. And what's going to do is you're going to influence that planet towards your side of the board. And then it has an immediate effect, which is going to bring that planet towards you, and then a secondary effect, which might bring that planet towards you as well, or another planet towards you, or it might give you credits, or it might do something else, which is how you're going to combo your turns. The other thing you can do is you can play that card to influence the technology track, which is you're going to play a card based off of its species. So if it's a robot or if it's a human, you're going to influence those specific tracks, and you're going to pay Zenithium to go up that board. As you go up that board, you're going to gain some various ability. It might be to acquire a new card onto your side of the planet board, which is in essence going to give you more effects, because the more cards on your side of the board, the cheaper it is to, it means discounts to playing subsequent cards. So if you have 2 cards out that are red, you play another card that costs 3, that card only costs you 1 to play. The third thing you can do with those cards is you can, what is it? I believe it is
I forget what
diplomacy.
It's called. Yeah.
It's called diplomacy
track. Yeah.
Where you play that card, you just kind of, I guess it's kind of like a toss it out, but you discard it for the diplomacy, and you are going to acquire the diplomacy token. What that diplomacy token does is it allows you to increase your hand size at the end of your turn. So normally you're drawing up to 4 cards. This will allow you to draw up to 5 cards at the end of your turn, or 6 if you play the diplomacy again and flip that token to its numbered 6 side.
It's like silver is 5, and then you flip it to the gold side for 6.
Gold side
that's
gives
my favorite
you a
mechanism.
hand of 6, which is pretty cool, because like it gives you an advantage on your opponent having more cards in hand, and that your opponent can steal that card away from you. But you've already gotten the advantage of having more cards in your hand because you don't discount card down to your discard back down because you lost that token. But it's pretty cool because that's other ways to get Zenithium. That's other ways to get credits or currency or more cards onto your side of the table. But there's so many things going on. It's not an overly complex game, but it is a very combo-y game where you really have to figure out how to manage the cards in your hand to really influence and play this tug-of-war game to try to influence all those planets. But every time I play this, I've had a blast with this. We've been playing it on BGA, Reggie and I, but I've been playing it physically, the physical copy, and it's been a blast. This is meant to be played as 2-player, and I gotta say, man, in just the past month, I've gotten this game to the table probably 15 to 20 times. I'm saying 15 to 20 times between physical and BGA, and I'm loving it every single play.
Yeah, it's cool. He's throwing shade because I got whooped in this in our PGA, our first PGA we played of this. It's great. I love tug-of-war games. I love this the multi-use cards. I just want to shout out PlayPunk is the publisher, like you mentioned, and they did Captain Flip, which was my most played game of 2024. So I think they're a publisher to look out for. It's a great game. Awesome. I'm going to close this out here with my last game here, and I want to talk about New Year's Day. I was at my local board game club. We never do, it's usually on Thursday nights, and they just opened up and we went to our space and we played for they had it open from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. on New Year's Day, which is so awesome. And I got there at 11:30 and it was 6:30. I blinked and it was 6:30. It's I'm 7 hours. It's just it just flies by. And my wife's like, "You've been gone all day." I'm like, "Have I?" I feel like it's been 25 minutes. It's been 7. But shout out to my new local game club friend who has even more games than I do, maybe about double. But shout out to Brittany. So awesome that she has some of the coolest games out there, and she has this game that I never got to play, and I've been so excited about it, called Come Sail Away, like we talked about here. And I do want to shout out the Spanish name is so cool. I'm only going to call it from now on. Todos a bordo. That's what it's called, all aboard kind of. Todos a bordo. So that's the game. It is a very puzzly game for 1 to 4 player. It is the Sashi and Sashi publisher, but the designer is Sashi and Daryl Chow, which is interesting, and it has a different artist. It's usually, I thought Sashi and Sashi was always Sashi, the wife of the Sashi and Sashi. Yeah, but this is Takako Takarai. But it looks very similar to the original games. 2023. About a 2.0. I think it was only really recently available in the US. It's definitely hard to find. And so I was just so excited to try this. It's got a variable setup. And so it's very much like what I just talked about, Libertalia, where one player does the setup and we all set up exactly like that with all these different rooms, and all the different rooms on this cruise ship have different requirements to fulfill them. And what's going to be happening is we're going to be passing cards around that have different colored passengers. There's red, yellow, blue, black, and green. And you're going to play them. You have to play those passengers in a specific order, going in a Mancala style. So that's the biggest thing. It is a Mancala game, and it is so cool. I was just blown away by how this worked. It's such a clever little puzzle. So closed drafting, like I said, you pick your one, and it was also a really good teach because it's all simultaneous action. But when you teach a simultaneous action game, you can kind of go in player order for the first 2 rounds, and then once people have it understood, then you can go simultaneous action. I love that about those type of games too. And so you place in each room, and if it doesn't have a matching color, or there's some rooms that have matching colors that are kind of like the cabins, and there's some of the cards have luggage on them. And so if you are escorting a passenger to their room because they just got here, they have a luggage, thematically, then you bump up this luggage track and you get some extra combo-y powers, and you get some other rooms that you can put on the sides of your car. The production is just so cool, but really that puzzly nature of the Mancala is so amazing because it reminds me a little bit of Calico, in that each of these rooms might have one of the rooms I was playing with had 2 pairs of chairs, right? One, and the top pair it could be any of the same color, and the bottom pair had to be a different color. So it's like I had to get 2 red and 2 blue, or it could be 2 green and 2 black. It didn't matter, but they just had to match. And one was like all 5 different colors are the only things that can go in this room. And when you're moving around your cruise ship, you have to go to an adjacent room. I didn't really mention that with the Mancala thing. So you really start getting stuck. And the craziest part is when you complete a room, which is what you want to do to score points, you flip it over. But now that becomes an empty room. And if you have to end and place a passenger there, that goes in your negative bin because you don't really want to like complete your rooms too early, or at least you want to complete on one side of your ship. There's all this puzzly stuff to go with it. So much variable setup. And there's even a little bit of competition in racing for who completes certain rooms first. You get like bonus points if you complete it before other people. So I love this, and the cruise ship theme is cute. The production is great. The thing I really wanted to highlight that I think Jazz and Dwayne and I all have in common, which is not universal, is that we are all 3 always trying to find a game that our wives would enjoy. Yep. Like that she would be willing to learn. And this is so quintessential. The Queen, my wife, would love this game. There's not a single word on the game. It is completely language independent. The last thing my wife wants to do is read cards. Everdell, for example, hates it. My favorite game, Wingspan, hates it. Too much reading. Why would I read while I'm playing a game? She's a very puzzly thinker. She'd be very good at this game. And I need it. Like, this is so high on my want to buy list. And it also has solo. So if I really just wanted to have a puzzly solo mode, that'd be great. But yeah, Come Sail Away. What a banger.
Yeah, Sashi and Sashi has some really great games. Like, we recently, my wife loves Overparked. That's not Sashi. That's actually Daryl Chow. Okay. But, Oh,
same designer, though. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember when we went to PAX, not this past year, but in 2023, and Sashi was there, and I made a beeline. As soon as the doors opened, I made a beeline straight to Sashi, and Come Sail Away was the only game they didn't have.
Oh, my gosh.
Who was walking beside you, Dwayne? Do you remember who was walking beside you?
Yeah. This guy, that guy.
That guy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we knew this episode would be a little long, but thank you all for just sticking with us and hearing about all these great games and games we like to teach. So we really appreciate it. If you want to get in touch with us, please feel free to email us at boardstatespod@gmail.com. And you can also DM us or message us on Instagram. We got the Lobby of Hobbies for Jazz and Rolling.Reggie for myself. Comment on Spotify has comments. Spotify on YouTube, that's there. I actually did get a DM from our most recent episode where we talk about obsession. The DMer will remain anonymous, but I asked Jazz, what's the name of the fancy family, and Jazz told me the Rothschilds, and the actual answer is the Fairchild.
The Fairchild.
I gotta correct it. We gotta correct it.
Gotta correct me, right?
We got a correction every episode. Just know there's gonna be a correction every episode. Sometimes we're just gonna let them fly, but I wanted to get that one out there. All right, Jazz, you want to close us out here?
First, Dwayne, thank you so much for coming through. I'll give it to you. Anything? Where can people find you at, Dwayne?
Well,
yes,
mostly
please.
On the YouTube channel BlackBoardGaming, where I talk about, me and my wife talk about games, introducing them to you and yours, and that's basically, if you can't leave comments in the videos, I always respond. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Blue Sky, and that's where I'm at. That's where we're at.
Yeah, please go check them out. I just watched your top 5 designers was a really great episode. I love your top 10 games of 2025. You and Alicia, I think she brought 5. She's not playing as many games, but the ones I love for you, I got to shout it. If you're listening to this, you're not watching Dwayne, go watch his ones where he's been. You've had a secret. What do you call it? Where you have a secret through line for all the games. Yeah. Board game link up. Man, I've been loving those. I've been knowing every single one just from the thumbnail, but I'm a gamer, So let's see if you're out there, you DGLs would pick it out.
Yeah. Again, if you aren't following Dwayne, you got to go check him out over on YouTube. the thing is, I've known Dwayne for quite some time, quite a few years, and Dwayne has a passion, not only for this hobby, just for people in general and getting people to the table. You know, you can tell it in how passionate it is for him to teach games. Listen, I've been at the table with Dwayne teaching, not only myself, but just a random person he called over to the table at PAX Unplugged one time, taught the game, and we had a blast, just the three of us. But yeah, again, we want to give you guys a huge thanks and a huge shout out for following us here. But we also, first off, give a huge shout out to our podcast music from my brother at Dre the Producer over on Instagram. And again, Reggie's buddy, Kenan at Punchboard Cathedral, who did our logo, the hottest logo right now. Oh, maybe the second hottest according to Punchboard Cathedral's podcast, I think. But listen, go follow those two. If you're looking for some music, if you're looking for some just great board game content, follow either of those two. But again, thanks for listening to us talk about the best hobby in the world, board games. I know Dwayne believes that as well, but you could be spending your time doing so many other things, but you chose to listen to us here on the Board States podcast, where friends become rivals and board states decide the outcome. We'll catch you on the next one.
Nos vemos.